Okay, I think we're live.
Amazing. We're
Yay!
live together, Cheryl. So first of all, I'm going to thank you because I pledged to myself this year that I would be more fully expressed, and that when I was doing things that really mattered to me and really impacted my life, that I would speak about them because I want to embody what I believe. So that's why today I'm like, let's do a live because you and I have been working together and I really want to talk about it. And I get a little shy, but I think it's just so good for us to come on here, you and I, just like our phone chats, and just talk about this good stuff that's going on. So thank you.
Oh,
I'll start with
thank
that. Thank
you.
you.
Oh, thank you. I am just like so excited to have your beautiful energy in this, world that I've been creating. And yeah, it just really excites me to have you on this team and in this work, and that's why I'm just so excited today, because you've been, in on the team and in the work for about a month now. And I
Yeah.
know that like a lot of people don't really understand what's going on here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Cheryl, about 2 months ago, you and I started having conversations about working together. And I already knew that I like your energy. I knew what you felt like to be in person. I know your vibration. I see you living such a fabulous life. Like I really connect with you. But I kept telling you it's really important that anything that I'm working on is something that I'm super passionate about and that is really not only impacting myself, but is impacting the clients. So I let you know all of that. Like that's super important. And so we trusted each other. We decided to start working together. And a big part of that is me going through the material myself because I didn't really know. I knew that you were doing great things, but I didn't know how it worked, what it looked like, what it felt like. So I've dove straight in head first into this stuff. So do you want to talk a little bit about like what is that like? Because
Yeah, I
yeah,
do. I mean, I really, I've been, obviously I've been observing your experience for the past month, but I would just love for you to share with others
yeah.
what what you've been getting out of this, and what you're seeing in the work, in the material, in the group. Yeah, I just want to hear, from your perspective,
Okay.
what does this all look like for you?
Okay, well, you gave me a choice. I always have to start with group because for me, it's all about the people, right? I am looking to surround myself with intelligent, big hearted, diverse, incredible humans who are looking to impact the world. And I remember the very first call that I joined, and I was with your group, and I was like, okay, I'm like reading everyone's energy and what is this going to feel like? And it was so blessed because it was a call that you were celebrating the wins from that quarter. And I'm a girl who loves to celebrate wins. I'm someone who loves to just feel that vibration, that energy, that power of wins. And I was like, okay, what's the kind of wins that are happening in this group? And I was just completely blown away by the range of wins because there's stuff from like business stuff to family stuff to health stuff to personal achievement. Like there were so many great things and people achieving great things and really celebrating each other, really welcoming. Really, I felt comfortable immediately. Like I can get kind of nervous. I grew up really shy kid. I'm nervous right now, like I'm sweating, but that group made me feel comfortable right away. And I really have a tremendous amount of respect for that diverse group of people that you have brought together in this like beautiful, safe space of living bigger, right? Everyone's there to live bigger. So I don't know if you want to add anything to the about that I'm saying about the group, but that from my perspective, that was the first thing that I felt and noticed. And it's only grown since then. It's
Yeah.
only grown every call. I'm so amazed and blessed by the openness of the sharing when we're doing love seats where people are opening up about some resistance that they're facing and how you come in with your incredible coaching, but the group also comes in and share because it's a group of just like such intelligent experts in their own right, and they come in with their own expertise. And I leave the calls feeling amazing. And even though it's not, every call isn't about sharing wins, the wins are just being dropped and like, oh, casually just come out of someone's mouth about like, oh yeah, I just, yeah, oh yeah, by the way, I just had my first 100K month. And I'm like, how are you not like, what? This is just a casual win that someone's sharing, but that's what I love about the group. Big things happening all the time. Like, you must love that, right? Do you get on
I
those calls
do.
and you're just like, what?
Every time I get on a call, like, it doesn't matter, like, what's happened before the call or what my energy level is. My energy level is always like through the roof by the time I get off those calls. And it was such a great first call for you to be on, because we were celebrating our wins for Q2. So, coming in as your first, think about it, coming in as your first call and in that energy. And, here you are, an observer at that point, and just like seeing all of these amazing things happening for people. And I know, like, because I've been in other groups too, in masterminds and things, that, a lot of people, have resistance to, or, have had bad experiences in groups where they've invested a lot of money and haven't gotten their, the results that they were hoping to get. And that's why I'm just so proud of this program that I have, because I'm proud of it for so many reasons. I'm proud of it because people are getting the most incredible, massive wins, like mind-blowing wins in a very short period of time. Like sometimes within just a couple of weeks, people are like massively shifting, their mental health, their physical health, their financial health, like everything is happening. It's because we don't just focus on business, we focus on everything, right? Personal, professional. And I've always been in my work, I take a holistic approach to that, all areas of life. So you're going to get shifts everywhere when you do this work, but it was so great for you to come in and be able to have that amazing energy right off the bat and have that experience. And I am so proud of the diversity of this group. I've always been that person who, didn't want just an all woman group or, an all entrepreneur group. And, and I've really been able to maintain, that to my, hold that value for myself, that I truly believe that we all have, an ability to contribute. And, having people in their 20s and people in their 70s and, like lawyers, accountants, engineers, coaches, entrepreneurs, like of all, shapes, sizes, men, women, all of it coming together. I've just attracted this beautiful, safe, like you said, safe environment for people who, but there's the common thread, right? And the common thread in all of them is that they want more, they know they're capable more, they just don't know how, what's blocking them or how to get it, but they know that there's more available for them and that they deserve it and they're meant for it. And so that's the common thread. They all have a dream, they all have a vision, and they just want to, need the support and the tools and the resources to get there. So,
and we have fun while we do it, right? It's like we laugh, we have fun, and big things are happening, and it just, I feel so incredible after every single call. So for me, I absolutely always looking to connect with like-minded people, with people who are also on the same path that I am. And it's so fun to be learning the material and experiencing the material, because one of the things that happens on the call is, even if it's someone who's sharing about their own experience, something that's going on for them in that moment, in that time, and you're coaching them through it, I'm like, they're talking about me. There's something that I'm hearing that I'm like, but this is about me. And when I look at the screen, on the Zoom screen, everyone is having that experience too, their own takeaways, their own, paradigms that are coming up, or I see myself in the coaching that's happening, no matter who it is in the group, even if it's someone whose goal is completely different than mine.
Yeah.
I'm hearing myself in that, and I'm learning even when it's not about me in that moment. So that's always a great thing.
Yeah, it's a real, it's a real opportunity to, hold up the mirror and see what we need to see. And sometimes it's easier to see in others than it is in ourselves. And I know that half the time when I'm talking about something, everybody thinks I'm talking about
Yeah.
them. I could not be talking about any of them, but everybody thinks,
Me right
oh,
now.
she's talking about me. She's talking about me. But no, it's because we all are, we all are experiencing the fear, the doubt, the worry, the imposter syndrome, all those limiting beliefs and doubts. And, just I think the big word that's been coming up a lot is the overwhelm. I'm so overwhelmed. There's so much going on. There's so much going on in my life. There's so much going on in the world. And now I'm trying to go for this big, these big goals and these big dreams. So one of the things you said, like, we do laugh and we do have fun and the energy is contagious. And we do learn that it doesn't have to be hard.
Yes.
We make it hard,
I
right?
make it hard. I make it hard for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just learning how to let it be easy, how to let everything that we want to move towards be easier and flow. I think that's the most important thing, is that it doesn't have to be hard. We make it hard. And with this program, we learn how to let it be easy. And that's the beauty of it. Like, for someone to come in and then within like a month, I had someone come in and within a month double their annual income. Others coming in and having 100K months within a few months. Like, those are big, big, big shifts.
Yeah.
Right. And learning that it wasn't that hard once they got
Right.
out of their own way. Right.
Yeah. Well, I learned right away from lesson one. So, okay, let's talk about a little bit of the material a little bit, because
Yeah.
the material was new for me. I've always heard about Bob Proctor. I wasn't sure, what he did or what that meant. So do you want to talk about that a little bit, or do you want me to jump right into my feelings about just lesson one in itself?
Yeah. I mean, talk about, whatever, like,
Okay.
because I think lesson one's a really powerful lesson. It's a simple lesson, but it's such a powerful lesson. And it really just, I've seen it over and over and over again, unlock something in someone that, like, what just happened to me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
what happened for you? What happened for you?
So lesson one is all about goal setting. And what was really apparent is that I've only ever made B goals. And that means I've only decided on a goal when I've tried to figure out every single step on how to get to that goal. Like, if I knew all the steps to get to that goal, then that was a goal that I was going for. And what this lesson has taught me is to know, you start by actually really feeling and connecting your emotion to what you really want, to what really feels good. And when you connect to that, this is where the ease and flow comes in. When you connect to that, the how comes, the how it finds a way. You start moving towards that, and you're moving towards something that is like soul led. And I know I've had good intuition, and I've always found my way, like, to places that were really good for me. But now I really feel like that goal is me going towards something that I truly want. Not because I'm a mom and I want to do well for my daughters, not because I'm, working for someone and want them to achieve something. Like, this is me as a woman, as Major, who has made a goal so that she can feel so fulfilled and happy and feel good most of the time. So thank you for that just in itself, because I've only logically looked at goals before.
Yeah, I love that, because it's so true. Like, our desires are pure, right? Our beliefs are not always pure, because we've been programmed to think a certain way or act a certain way or feel a certain way. And so, when we're going for those goals where I think I can do it, or this is what, I'm told I should be doing. This is the path my parents told me to take, or their parents told them to take, or, our society thinks we should take, versus what do we really want? What are, what is my heart really calling for? What do I desire more than anything? And shifting our vibrational energy towards that, everything starts to shift, because as we start to move towards it, it starts to move towards us.
Yes.
So powerful.
Yeah. And because I'm such a visual person, what I also really love that it's just not this one line statement of like, I will achieve blah, blah, blah. It's really, really from how does it taste, smell, feel, like from all of the senses, like really putting yourself in that goal and what it would bring like what it would bring to your life. So I love that part of it. Okay. So that was challenging in itself because there's resistance and there's like this fear of, oh, but what if I can't achieve it? Right. So then you start worrying about the how. Do you notice that with when people start setting their goals?
Yeah, because sometimes people can't give themselves permission to think big enough, right?
Mhm.
Because like their beliefs won't allow them to believe that they could actually go for what they really wanted. So they even get blocked in that lesson of, what do I really want?
Mhm.
And then they'll come and they'll tell me, okay, here's my goal. And I'm like, is that what you really want? And then we'll go a little bit deeper, like, and then it expands, right? It expands just within 5 minutes. It's expanded just because we've allowed ourselves to go there. So we just don't even realize.
Yeah.
We don't even realize on a conscious level how we get in our own way of our big goals, our big dreams.
Yeah. And okay. And the next thing I experienced, and speaks to the power of the group, because I was in our Facebook group and I see this, you told everyone to post their goal in the group. So here I am, I'm like, oh, of course I'm going to put my goal. And then I was like, oh, wait, okay, wait, who else posted their goal? And maybe I should see if like what other goals look like, because maybe Cheryl won't like my goal. Maybe my goal is weird. I don't know. Maybe my goal is too big. Maybe it's too small. And I had resistance. So then I just thought, okay, I want to do it, right? I'm here. I want to have the full experience. I'm going to post. And like, but the group was feeding off that energy together, right? Because as soon as one person was really declaring their dream and I was reading it and I could really feel the emotion behind it, it felt so good. And then I was like, okay, so I posted mine and then I get encouragement from the group on my post. And then now every single time I'm in the Facebook group, and I get so excited when it's someone's C goal, because people are writing out the most incredible, impactful, like missions, like they're real goals, and I can feel their goals, and they're just so beautiful and juicy and like delicious. And I just love that about the group. Like, it's funny when you get just as excited about their goals, like as I do about my own. And I think that is the vibration, right? That's our collective energy together.
Yeah, and because of the way we do it, we're able to paint this beautiful picture so everyone can visualize it, right? Because again, you want to paint the beautiful picture and then get emotionally involved with the beautiful picture. And when we all get emotionally involved, that collective, we collectively raise our vibrational energy too. And that's how we can support each other. And I think that's also what's so valuable about being in the energy of this work in this group, is that, sometimes when we have a dream, others around us can't buy into it or can't even conceive it. And so we end up playing smaller because of that, right? Because we don't have the support and the encouragement, and, people don't understand us. They're like, what's wrong with you? Like, get your head out of the clouds. Stop, what are you, crazy? Like, that's never going to happen. Like, and they're bringing all of their mental programming into the conversation as well. And so just being in the energy of people that are, again, all on different paths, different, trajectories and different ages and different, places in their life, but all are moving towards what they really want, what they really want emotionally, physically, financially. And, and collectively supporting and speaking the same language. That all plays a big part in helping us make those quantum leaps faster.
Okay, so then things are not always rosy. I ended up a couple weeks ago while I'm in the material getting really, really sick. And is really interesting because I'm so grateful that I had already done some of the material before I had got sick, because I was already in this like mindset of, you know, the power of my thoughts. And I was already doing morning study with your group, and we were reading a book together that was really helpful. But I really got into what we talked about, that overwhelm. I got really tired. I got really overwhelmed. I thought, how am I going to keep up with the audios, with the reading? I'm behind. Yeah, like, and it makes me think and have so much compassion for someone who's maybe experiencing that, but also has goals, and it's tiring, it's hard, and it's like, and I had a conversation with you because I'm like, well, how do I keep up with all of this and that and this thing? So I just want to also, that's what I want to talk about just a little bit, is just how it feels to be doing this work when we're not feeling our best, when we're feeling overwhelmed, because that's what I was feeling. And I'll say that I stayed in the work, and now I'm feeling so much better. Now I know that I'm rising even higher than I was before. But what do you think about that? What do you think about, because you saw the whole thing, you saw me get sick, you know, everything I experienced.
I mean, I think, you know, what's interesting, and we don't know, we never really know, right? But I often see, like, when people start a journey,
Yeah.
you know, our paradigms are so strong. Our habitual thoughts, patterns, and behaviors are so powerful, deeply rooted subconsciously. And there are so many ways in which we get derailed from our, you know, what we say we want or what we're moving towards. And sometimes it can be in a physical illness, right? Because everything is created in the mind first, and then in the physical form, right? But sometimes that's just how we derail ourselves. You know, I see this happen for people all the time, where people who get migraines or things like, you know, things like that, is they'll start to make progress and then they'll get sick, and then, you know, and then it pulls them back. But that could be a contributing factor, right? Like, our old mental programming is keeping us safe and the same. No, you're growing too fast, or you're starting to get really, you know, and then let's dial back. So we don't know if that happened or what, you know, what happened. But the bottom line is, what's important to remember about that is that you and again, we don't know this either, but being in the energy of the work, being in the material, how did it help you get better faster? How did it help you make the shift faster? Because we all know it's easy to fall into a depressive state or an anxious state or this or that when we're not feeling our best. But I also believe that, you know, yeah, things do happen. We get sick, and you know, being in the right state of mind can pull us out of anything faster. So I think, you know, how did this material help you pull yourself out of what you were going through and get back, you know, to where you wanted to be faster?
I believe that it's the ease of it, the coming back to, no, this is easy, and there's flow to it. So there's nothing that I had to come back to that was like studying books or taking a test, or no, it's just making that choice to think about how you're thinking about things and how your thoughts turn into your actions and all of that. So I wasn't coming back to anything that was hard to do. I was coming back to something that was easy to do, that was loving myself, that had, you know.
Yeah, because think about it when you're in school. Oh my God, I'm so far behind. I'm never going to catch up. I'm never going to. And then it affects your exams and your, you know, everything, right? I mean, we've all had that experience. But you know, it's like, Cheryl, I'm so far behind. I don't know how I'm going to catch up. Well, just get back on the horse. Like, just get on the call and start moving back towards what you want, as opposed to focusing on how far behind you are, or whatever. So again, the power of our thinking, right? How we get, you know, how we pull ourselves back, or how we just start moving forward, reset, just, you know, come to the call. Don't worry about it. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You're exactly
And
where you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
exactly. It's the happening for you and not to you. Because
Exactly.
I was in the worst, most negative, dark place where I was thinking, oh no, I just made my goal. Now this health stuff is coming in the way and it's going to take it all away from me. I'm now behind. I can't do this. What if I get even sicker? And then, something popped up because of the work that we've been doing, because the audios that I've been listening to, the readings we've been doing, the calls that we've been doing. I don't know if it was your voice. I don't know if it was the voice of an angel, but something said, wait, what if this is actually going to get you to your dreams faster?
Mm.
And when I had that thought, I thought, okay, that thought feels good. Okay, Cheryl talks about what feels good. I'm like, okay, let's keep going with this thought. And
Mm-hmm.
as I continued with that of like, maybe this is meant, maybe that I can get there quicker now. Maybe I understand more. Maybe this is something that was for me. And soon as I started thinking that, my health, my health stuff started to resolve, and I started to feel better, and I started to feel stronger. And I started to get back into that space of belief, of knowing, not just am I going to, that I will be achieving these goals, but I was able to get out of there quicker. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
thinking back to, if I would have had that same experience for me not too long ago, I would have stayed in that place longer, because I wouldn't have had the tool to know, okay, this thought feels good. Okay, listen to that, follow that, let the other stuff go. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
thinking of being sick, I'm visualizing myself in the healthiest state that I've ever been in. And that,
Yeah, it's really, it goes back to all the expressions, thoughts become things, right? We just really don't understand the power that we have within us all, the power in our mind. And when we can learn how to really truly tap into that and develop the tools and resources, because all we're doing in this program, like people are like, what do you do, Cheryl? What's going on in this group? Right. And we're really just teaching you how to think in a completely different way that supports and helps moves you towards anything that you want. Anything. It's all about, fulfillment in the end, right? The money is great. Sure. We want, do I want to make more money? Yes. Great. Okay. But what is it? What are we doing with that money? Like, what is it really all about? What's the impact that I want to have? What would bring me joy? What would bring me greater fulfillment? Right? That's what we're really striving for. And it's just learning how to get out of that old mental programming, because we've just, been downloaded with information since birth, genetically, environmentally, like all of it. And it's not necessarily true. And if we could just learn how to shift that thinking and learn how to focus on what is good, what we do want, what does feel good, what feels right for us, and continue to move towards that without all the mental blocks that we typically all have. Every single one of us has them, right? It's just we aren't aware. So we have to bring that level of awareness, and we have to then learn how to shift it, and not just shift it temporarily, create a new program that supports what we want to think and act, right?
Yeah.
So that's really all we're doing, is just teaching how to think in a way that supports what you want, not what you don't want.
Yeah. Okay. You're really good in this program. You do a wonder. What do you think it is that sets you apart? I've seen a lot of coaches. I've been in a lot of programs. I love your style. What is it about you? What is Cheryl's unique quality that just makes this so good? What is it about you?
Yeah, I don't, it's interesting because I have a really eclectic background,
Uh-huh.
right? I started out in corporate sales and business development. Then I packed up 2 suitcases and moved to New York, and out of necessity had to start a business. So I thought, well, private jet sounds interesting. Maybe I'll do that. And so I have like this big, background in business development and entrepreneurship. And then, but what I really wanted was to help people. And so then I went down this whole path in psychology and got a million different certifications and stuff. And I do combine it all, but I think, I've been a coach for over 15 years. I've seen how the industry has changed. in the beginning, it was all about nobody knew what a coach was or nobody understood coaching. So we had to educate people. Now everybody's calling themselves a coach.
Yep.
And that's kind of creating another problem in the industry. I think for me, like, obviously I have the experience and the knowledge and a very eclectic, diverse background in my own, experiences in life and business. But I think what really, it's just intuition. It's just, I've just really been able to tap into the power of my intuition and my imagination and my mental faculties. And, that's one of the things that we do in this program is we learn how to tap into the power of our of these beautiful faculties that we have. And I just have a really highly intuitive sense of how to flow through this work in a way in which I can, meet a person and very, very quickly understand what it is that's getting in their way. I can see their vision before they see their vision. In a lot of cases, my clients will tell you, Cheryl saw it before I saw it. And then I'm like, how do I get you to see it? Because we all know we can't just tell someone what to do. Okay, oh my God, you should do this and do it this way and everything will be great, because that's just not how we operate, right? I mean, think about it. When you're a kid and your parents saying, do this, you're resisting that. No, let me figure it out myself. So I think it's just a combination of experience, knowledge, and intuition, and creativity. I'm very highly, I just like, I've got this big, beautiful toolkit. And then what does this person need? What can I pull out of it to help this person see what they need to see, feel what they need to feel, and, and help them create the shifts that they need faster.
Absolutely. And two other things I'll add to that. What I've really noticed, and you touched on it a little bit, is that you make me feel, sometimes you'll ask me a question in a certain way that is probably connected to something that I'm really sensitive about, or something that's going on with me, or something that I need to explore. But you do it in a way that I don't feel triggered. I don't feel activated. Like, I feel safe in the way that you with me explore something that I'm going through, that it makes me more curious and feel safe to go into that. Not like, no, why do you see that about me? Why are you asking that question? You have a really beautiful way. And I think that's because it comes from love and from knowledge and experience, and just working with clients over and over and over, and maybe picking up on those patterns and like that expertise of how do I approach this subject with someone so that they can come to, like you said, to that answer themselves, like through your guidance.
I mean, I just think, like, it's, I remember I think one of my clients wrote a recommendation on LinkedIn and said, like, Cheryl's like the velvet glove, like she because I'm very direct, but in the most loving, compassionate way.
Yeah.
So I'll give it to you, but you don't feel it. Like, it's just like soft, like a little velvet glove, right? But I'm giving it to you straight. And it's just like, again, there's no judgment, right? It's really, how can I deliver the message to you in a way that you can receive it? And that's going to support you in looking at it, because that's what this is really all about, is just, I'm just holding up the mirror, right? I mean, look, I've been through a lot in my life, and I think that helps me to help others because of all the experiences I've had. I've worked in projects in Harlem. I've worked with billionaires. I've worked with royalty. I've worked with like the spectrum of people, which is what I love. I never want to limit myself to, to that, because I just love people and humans in general. But I think obviously I'm an expert in the science of human behavior. And I've developed that over time. I'm going to be 60 in January. So
wisdom.
I've done this when I was 30. No, I could not have. And I've had some amazing mentorship too, right? I've had some amazing mentors. Most of them are gone. A lot of them have left during the pandemic. And now I just, like, I'm carrying the torch, and I really understand that. I really understand the power in mentorship. And I really take that seriously. Like, when two of my dearest mentors died during the pandemic, and I was like, okay, this is what I've been in preparation for. Now it's my turn.
Yeah.
Right now it's my turn. And I do think that everybody needs to have that mentorship and that guidance and that, experience and the wisdom of those who have come before us, because that's where the learning happens and that's where the growth happens. So I'm just so honored and grateful to be on this journey, and with the people that trust me to guide them and support them and walk with them.
Okay, that's my other favorite thing about you is that you walk the talk, you talk the walk, you do this stuff. Like this is, there are so many people that are coaches that I've seen where they teach something that they don't actually embody or implement for themselves. And that for me is just like it breaks trust. I don't trust it. If you're not doing your own material and you're not doing if you're not doing what you're preaching, like why aren't you doing what you say you're doing? But you are so dedicated to this material. And I find that really inspiring, and it builds trust because I can come to you with anything that I'm feeling about the material, any kind of question. And you know it from like the inside out because you're really breathing this and reading this and listening to this and thinking about this and imagining this every single day. So how long? Yeah.
I mean, I thank you for that because I believe it's a lifelong journey. I mean, I think that's why we're here, right? It's, if we're not growing, we're disintegrating, so it's all about growth and expansion and how we evolve over time. And I've done a lot of work, a lot of personal work, and I continue to. In fact, like that's why I have one of my other coaches doing the morning study group, because while you guys are on the morning study group, I'm doing deeper work myself as I elevate, all of everybody around me does, right? So, so I'm constantly doing the work, and I'm really open about that. You guys know in the group, like I'm so open about, my challenges and the things that I'm going through, because I don't think it's realistic to not think that this person's on a pedestal and they're perfect, because nobody really is perfect. We all have work to do, and again, like if we're not growing, we're dying, right? So I just remember in 1999 ending up in a psychologist's office on Park Avenue. Total crisis. It was a bad relationship gone wrong. I'm in, like, it's part of my screenplay. I could visualize the opening scene. I'm in the cab with my friend. She's on the phone, 911. Cheryl's having a crisis, and we're driving up Park Avenue to that therapist's office. And I remember just going in there and sitting there and going, I'm so sick and tired of this. I'm not leaving until I get it right. I'm not leaving until I figure this out. And that's just set me on this lifelong journey to figuring out my own stuff. And oh my God, like the shifts in me have been incredible. And I just want that for everyone. I just want that. I know how it feels to be free of all of that pain and, fear and doubt and loneliness and sadness and, like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not good enough? Why is everybody doing better than I am? Like, what, I just know all of that stuff because, I could, that's another call we could do.
Well, okay. I love this so much.
Feels, and I want that freedom, that freedom for everybody. And that's what this work brings people. It brings them that freedom. And inner peace more than anything else, more than the money, more than the success and all the other stuff. That inner peace and freedom and joy is available for all of us when we have the right tools and the support and the resources. So I think that's just a perfect place
Thank you so much for letting me. I want to keep sharing this stuff. Please keep supporting my dream of being more fully expressed and speaking in the world about the things that really matter, because like we'll talk, marketing is all about like posts and the reels and the this and the that. But I'm like, I want to have real conversations with you, Cheryl. And I want, someone who's watching this to go, oh, maybe I want some of that. That's maybe something that I want to do. And that's what I want to do. I want to call people into something that is impacting me and that will impact them. And so thanks for having this chat
Wow.
with me. We'll do it again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're going to do a lot more of this. And I just, am so excited to always hear your perspective, because you're coming into this, you're starting this journey. And, I love having those fresh eyes, so that we can share your
Yeah,
journey as well.
I love
So,
it. We'll
all
keep
right.
sharing. Stay tuned. I'm on lesson 4. We got more to go.
Yay.
All
Awesome.
right.
Okay.